The skies above Seoul darkened unnaturally as Director Park stood on the observatory platform, his eyes fixed on the monitor displaying the incoming data. The massive alien fleet had appeared at the edge of the solar system without warning, their technology far beyond anything humanity had expected to encounter. How long until they reach Earth orbit? Park asked his chief scientist, Dr. Kim. 3 days at their current velocity, she replied, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. They're slowing down, which suggests they want to make contact rather than attack immediately. Director Park rubbed his tired eyes. He hadn't slept in 36 hours, not since the first anomalous readings came through. What had started as an unusual energy signature had quickly revealed itself to be over 300 spacecraft of unknown origin, moving with purpose toward Earth. Dr. Kim touched his shoulder gently. The President is waiting for your assessment. Park nodded and followed her to the secure communication room. The face of President Choi appeared on screen, lines of worry etched across her forehead. Director Park, give me something I can take to the United Nations. Madam President, we are dealing with a technologically superior species. Their ships use propulsion systems we can only theorize about. They could have reached us in hours, but they're deliberately taking their time. The emergency summit convened 6 hours later. Leaders from every nation gathered virtually as Ambassador Lee presented the South Korean findings. The room fell silent when she revealed images of alien monitoring devices found buried in the Antarctic ice, dated to be at least 50 years old. We have found similar devices in the Amazon rainforest, the Mariana Trench, and the Sahara Desert, she explained. They have been watching us for decades. General Ba, head of South Korea's military, stood next. We have reason to believe several technological breakthroughs in the last 30 years were the result of reverse engineering equipment similar to these monitoring devices. Some nations have been preparing in secret. Murmurs filled the virtual conference room as accusations began to fly. President Choi silenced them with a raised hand. This is not the time for division. Humanity faces its greatest challenge. The alien transmission came without warning. Screens around the world flickered as strange symbols appeared, flowing like water across displays. In the observatory, Dr. Kim worked feverishly with her team to translate. I think I understand their language structure, she said after 18 straight hours of work. It's based on mathematical principles similar to our own. Director Park leaned over her shoulder. What are they saying? Dr. Kim's face paled as she read the translation. We come to evaluate your species' worthiness. The news spread quickly to the reconvened emergency summit. The silence that followed was deafening. Evaluate. President Choi's voice finally cut through the tension in the war room. They speak as if they have that right. Ambassador Lee cleared her throat. We need to respond carefully. If they're evaluating us, what are the criteria? What are the consequences of failure? A military officer from Russia spoke up. We should show strength immediately, launch our most advanced weapons, and start a war we cannot win, the British Prime Minister countered. As the debate heated up, General Ba quietly moved to President Choi's side and whispered something in her ear. She nodded, then addressed the summit. There is something you should all know, she said. 15 years ago, after the discovery of an alien craft that crashed in the Yellow Sea, South Korea began developing contingency plans. She nodded to General Ba, who activated a secure briefing channel. Operation Ultimatum protocol was designed for exactly this scenario. We have technology that can at least give us a fighting chance. Classified images appeared, showing underground facilities housing strange-looking craft and weapons. We reverse-engineered what we found, General Ba explained. And we weren't the only ones. China, Russia, the United States, we all have pieces of the puzzle. President Choi looked at each leader in turn. I propose we combine our resources. Show these visitors that humanity will not be judged without having a say in the matter. As the summit debated, Director Park returned to the observatory deck. The stars were being blotted out one by one As the alien fleet moved closer, their massive ships now visible through Earth's most powerful telescopes. Dr. Kim joined him, her face resolute. "We've prepared a response message." Park nodded. "Send it." Across the vast distance of space, humanity's first official communication traveled to the approaching fleet. "We acknowledge your arrival. We are humanity. We will speak as equals or not at all." The aliens' response came almost immediately. "Interesting. Your species shows unexpected backbone. The evaluation will proceed nonetheless." In the war room, General Ba smiled grimly as he activated the Ultimatum protocol's first phase. "Then we will show them exactly who they're dealing with." The public saw smiling diplomats on television talking about peaceful first contact protocols and interstellar cultural exchange. They had no idea what was really happening. Colonel Jun walked through the massive underground facility carved into the mountains of Gangwon Province. His footsteps echoed on the metal floors as technicians rushed past him, focused on their urgent tasks. This base, known only as Blackstone, had existed for decades, unknown to all but the highest levels of government. "Status report," he demanded as he entered the command center. Major Hyun stood at attention before a wall of screens showing military preparations happening worldwide. "The quantum disruptors are online, sir. All 7 units are operational and ready for deployment." Colonel Jun nodded, allowing himself a moment to appreciate the achievement. The weapons before him shouldn't exist by any normal timeline of human technological development. They were the result of half a century of reverse engineering alien technology from crashed scout ships and recovered monitoring devices. "The aliens don't know we've had pieces of their technology for over 50 years, Major Hyun added with a hint of pride. "Let's keep it that way," Jun replied. "Advantage comes from surprise." On the main screen, a live feed showed the alien fleet now positioned just beyond the moon. Their ships were beautiful in a strange way, silver blue and seemingly seamless, as if grown rather than built. A message came through on the secure line. "EDC command to Blackstone. Phase 2 is active." The Earth Defense Coalition had been formed mere days ago, uniting the military forces of 27 nations under a single command structure. Old enemies now worked together against a common threat. Russian combat pilots trained alongside American specialists. Chinese supercomputers coordinated with European defense systems. "Show me our orbital assets," Jun ordered. Major Hyun brought up a display of Earth's orbit. What appeared to be empty space was highlighted with small indicators, the stealth platforms now in position. Each housed particle beam weapons capable of cutting through the alien hull material, their energy signatures masked by cloaking technology based on the aliens' own designs. "The enemy still believes we're defenseless," Major Hyun said. "Their communications indicate they see us as primitive, barely beyond burning fossil fuels." "A convenient misconception," Colonel Jun replied. An alert sounded through the base. 3 alien vessels breaking from the main fleet, announced the sensor operator. "They're entering Earth's atmosphere." Everyone in the command center tensed. This was the moment they had prepared for, the first real test of humanity's secret capabilities. "Scout ships, as expected," Major Hyun confirmed. "They're following the protocol from their handbook. First small contact, then escalation." Colonel Jun smiled thinly. "They follow their rules too closely. It makes them predictable." He turned to the communications officer. "Signal EDC command. Operation Thunderclap is go." Around the world, hidden facilities activated their systems. The alien scout ships approached Earth confidently, their sensors detecting only normal human activities and communications. They expected to encounter primitive aircraft at best. Instead, precisely targeted electromagnetic pulse weapons fired from 5 different locations. The pulses were specially modulated to the frequency of the alien power systems, knowledge gained from studying their technology. On the command screen, the 3 alien ships suddenly stopped mid-flight, their systems failing. "Direct hits on all targets," reported the tactical officer. "Their propulsion and weapons are offline." Before the disabled ships could fall from the sky, specially trained EDC capture teams moved in. Stealth aircraft surrounded the alien vessels, attaching tractor cables and transport shields. Within minutes, the scout ships were being towed to secure facilities. First capture complete, Major Hyun announced. No casualties on either side. Colonel Jun watched as the main alien fleet reacted to the loss of their scouts. Their formation shifted, ships moving into defensive positions. They're confused, he said, studying their movements. They expected primitive beings cowering in fear, not a coordinated military response. He turned to his staff. Begin Phase 3. Let them detect just enough of our preparations to make them cautious, but not enough to reveal our full capabilities. As the orders went out, Colonel Jun allowed himself a small, grim smile. Now we have their attention, he said, and they still don't know what we're truly capable of. In orbit, the first alien transmission in hours arrived. Release our vessels immediately. Your resistance is noted but futile. The EDC's response was brief. Your vessels violated sovereign territory. They remain under our protection. Further incursions will be met with appropriate force. On the alien command ship, the leader of the evaluation force faced an unexpected situation. For the first time in 17 planetary assessments, a species was not following the expected response pattern. This required reconsideration. President Choi adjusted her formal jacket as the technicians made final preparations. The broadcast center in Seoul had been converted into a secure facility overnight. Armed guards stood at every door. Outside, people gathered in public squares around the world, their eyes fixed on giant screens about to carry the most important message in human history. 30 seconds, Madam President, the director said. General Ba stood to her right, his uniform crisp and decorated with medals. Director Park was on her left, data tablet in hand, looking tired but determined. Behind them, Dr. Kim made last-minute adjustments to the translation system. The alien language is complex, Dr. Kim explained. It uses tonal shifts that human vocal cords cannot produce. But the computer synthesis should deliver our message perfectly. President Choi nodded. And they will understand every word. The red light on the camera turned on. Billions of people held their breath. People of Earth, President Choi began, her voice steady and strong. Today we speak not just to you, but to those who have come to our solar system uninvited. She paused, allowing the weight of her words to settle. For 7 days, we have observed these visitors. They came without warning or permission. They sent scouts into our atmosphere. They believe they have the right to judge us, to evaluate our worth. Images appeared on screens behind her, the alien fleet, their captured scout ships, and evidence of their long surveillance of Earth. We have learned much about them, and now they will learn about us. She nodded to Dr. Kim, who activated the translation system. The next part of the message would be sent directly to the alien fleet in their own language. President Choi spoke clearly, each word transformed by the system into the clicking, whistling language of the visitors. We are humanity. We have observed your approach and intercepted your scouts. We understand your intention to evaluate us. On the alien command ship, the Supreme Evaluator listened with growing surprise. The primitive species was speaking their sacred language, something no other evaluated species had managed before. President Choi continued, "This is our response. We reject your evaluation. We are a sovereign species. We have been preparing for this encounter for generations. We possess technologies you believe beyond our reach. We stand united. This is not a negotiation. It is an ultimatum. Respect our boundaries or face the consequences." To punctuate her words, General Ba pressed a button on his control pad. Across Earth's orbit, a network of defense satellites simultaneously dropped their cloaking shields, becoming visible to alien sensors. The satellites were massive, each armed with weapons reverse-engineered from alien technology. They had been placed in orbit piece by piece over decades, disguised as ordinary communication satellites or space debris. In the alien fleet, alarms sounded. Their sensors had detected nothing until this moment. How was this possible? Their technology was supposed to be centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. President Choi's final words echoed through space. "We welcome peaceful exchange between equals. We will defend against any threat with all our strength. The choice is yours." The broadcast ended. In the control room, the staff remained silent, the weight of history heavy on their shoulders. "And now we wait," General Boz said quietly. They didn't wait long. Within an hour, a transmission arrived from the alien fleet. "Your message is received. Your demonstration is noted. We request direct communication, face to face." Director Park studied the message. "They're surprised. This isn't how evaluation usually goes for them." "Good," President Choi said. "Ambassador Lee is ready." The meeting point was set on the lunar surface, neutral ground between Earth and the alien fleet. A small human base had been secretly established there years ago, unknown to the public. Ambassador Lee led the 6-person delegation. They wore specially designed spacesuits that allowed for greater movement than traditional models. Hidden within each suit was advanced defensive technology and communication systems. Their shuttle landed precisely at the agreed time. Through the viewport, they could see the alien vessel had already arrived, sleek and silver, resting lightly on the lunar dust. "Remember," Ambassador Lee told her team as they prepared to exit, "we are not here as supplicants. We represent all of humanity. We stand as equals." The airlock opened. 6 humans stepped onto the lunar surface, their footprints joining those left decades earlier by the first explorers. Ahead of them, the alien ship's door slid open with a soft glow. 3 tall figures emerged. They moved with fluid grace despite the low gravity. Their bodies seemed to shimmer slightly, covered in what looked like metallic scales in blues and silvers. They had no visible mouths, but their large, multifaceted eyes studied the humans carefully. Ambassador Lee stepped forward, exactly the agreed distance. She spoke clearly, knowing the translation system would convert her words. "I am Ambassador Lee of Earth. We come in peace, but with resolve. Let us talk as equals." The lead alien moved forward. When it spoke, the sound was like wind through crystal. "I am the supreme evaluator. In 10,000 years, no species has ever rejected evaluation." Ambassador Lee smiled slightly. "Then perhaps it's time for your protocols to evolve." The meeting that would determine humanity's future had begun. The lunar meeting chamber was silent except for the soft hum of air systems. Ambassador Lee sat across from the alien who called himself Visitor. His blue-silver skin reflected the lights, making him seem to glow. "Your species has progressed faster than our models predicted," Visitor stated, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into human language. Ambassador Lee maintained a diplomatic smile. "Perhaps your models were based on incomplete data." She noticed how Visitor's large eyes narrowed slightly at her response. The 4 other members of her team sat quietly, recording every detail of the encounter. "We have studied many species," Visitor continued. "The evaluation process is sacred to us. You are the first to reject it." "We mean no disrespect," Ambassador Lee replied. "But on Earth, we believe in self-determination. No outside force has the right to judge our worthiness." The meeting ended with no clear resolution. As the human delegation returned to Earth, they knew the real test was just beginning. The first challenge came 3 days later. Every major computer network on Earth faced simultaneous attacks. Banking systems crashed. Power grids flickered. Military communications stuttered. In her lab beneath Seoul, Dr. Kim worked frantically, her fingers flying over keyboards as her team fought to counter the attack. "They're probing our defenses," she told Colonel Jun over the secure line, "testing how we respond." What the aliens didn't know was that Earth had prepared for exactly this scenario. Years ago, Dr. Kim had developed quantum encryption protocols based on alien technology. The most critical systems were protected by these unbreakable codes. After 6 hours, the cyber attack stopped. Earth's networks had bent but not broken. Round 1 to humanity, Colonel June announced to his team. The second test came in the form of strange probes that appeared in Earth's atmosphere. They were small, about the size of birds, and nearly invisible to conventional radar. "They're mapping our defense systems," Major Hyun reported as she tracked their movements. Colonel June nodded. "Let's give them something to find." He activated Operation Ghost Mirror, decoy defense systems designed to be discovered, hiding the real ones. Meanwhile, Special Forces teams quietly captured several probes for study. The third test was more direct. Ambassador Lee was in the middle of a follow-up meeting with Visitor when the alien suddenly said, "Your orbital defenses are impressive. It would be unfortunate if they failed." Before she could respond, her emergency communicator buzzed. She excused herself and stepped away to answer. "They're targeting the Pacific Array," Major Hyun reported urgently from Earth Command. 3 alien ships approaching at high speed. In the war room, General Bai studied the tactical display. The Pacific Array controlled Earth's defenses across the entire region. If it fell, major cities would be vulnerable. "Authorization code Alpha 7 Delta," he stated clearly. "Deploy Thunderbird squadrons from hidden bases in Japan, the Philippines, and Hawaii." Advanced fighter craft rose into the sky. They looked like normal military jets but contained technology far beyond official military capabilities. Pilots trained in secret for years guided them toward the approaching alien vessels. "Do not fire unless fired upon," General Bai ordered, "but protect the array at all costs." The aliens fired first. Energy beams lanced toward the Pacific Array, only to be intercepted by shields that appeared at the last moment. The Earth fighters engaged, using targeting systems specifically designed to track alien vessels. The space battle was brief but fierce. 2 human fighters were damaged, but 3 alien ships were forced to retreat. When Ambassador Lee returned to the meeting room, Visitor was receiving reports through his own communication device. "It seems there has been an unfortunate incident," she said calmly. Visitor's large eyes blinked slowly. "Your defenses were more effective than anticipated." "We prefer peace," Ambassador Lee replied, "but we are prepared for alternatives." After the battle, Director Park made an important discovery. While analyzing captured alien communications, his team found messages between different ships that showed disagreement. "Listen to this," he told President Choi, playing a translated recording. "The humans show qualities worthy of respect," said one alien voice. "The old evaluation protocols may not apply." "Evaluation is sacred," argued another voice. "We cannot change our ways for one species. They're not as united as they want us to believe," Director Park explained. "There's a faction among them that favors peaceful contact." President Choi considered this information carefully. "Find out who leads this faction. Ambassador Lee needs to make contact with them." That night, as she prepared for bed, President Choi looked out her window at the stars. Somewhere up there, aliens were arguing about humanity's fate. "They came to test us," she whispered to herself, "but perhaps we are testing them as well." In the alien fleet, Visitor met secretly with others who shared his views. "The humans are different," he told them. "Perhaps it is time for our ways to change." The greatest test for both species was yet to come. The morning sun shone brightly over Busan as crowds gathered to witness history. 3 weeks had passed since the alien fleet arrived in Earth's orbit. Now those same ships hung in the sky above Mars, a respectful distance that spoke volumes. President Choi stood on the steps of the newly constructed Interstellar Embassy, a gleaming building of glass and steel that represented humanity's new place in the cosmos. Behind her stood Earth's defenders: Director Park, General Ba, Dr. Kim, Colonel Jun, and Ambassador Lee. They had all aged years in the past month, the stress of protecting Earth etched in their faces. The crowd grew silent as a small alien ship descended. Its silver-blue hull caught the sunlight as it landed softly on the embassy's landing pad. Visitor emerged first, followed by 6 other aliens of different colors and sizes. They moved with fluid grace toward the human delegation. "Today marks a new beginning," President Choi said to the waiting crowd and the billions watching around the world. "Not just for humanity, but for our new friends from the stars." Visitor stepped forward. His large eyes scanned the crowd before focusing on President Choi. "Your species has shown itself to be more formidable than anticipated," Visitor admitted, his translator making his clicks and whistles understandable. "The Evaluation Council has never before granted full sovereignty to a species at your stage of development." He held out a thin device that projected a document written in both human and alien languages. "This treaty recognizes Earth and the entire solar system as human territory. It establishes formal diplomatic relations between our civilizations." President Choi signed the document with a steady hand. When she finished, the crowd erupted in cheers. "We nearly went another way," Visitor said quietly to Ambassador Lee during the celebration that followed. "The Evaluation Council almost voted for full containment of your species." "What changed their minds?" she asked. "You did," Visitor replied. "Not just your technology, but your unity in the face of a greater power. Many species we evaluate turn against each other when threatened." 6 months later, Dr. Kim stood in her new laboratory, much larger than her old underground facility. Around her, human and alien scientists worked together, sharing knowledge under careful protocols. "The anti-gravity principles are similar to what we developed independently," she explained to her team. "But their application is far more efficient." Dr. Kim had become a hero to the world. Her work adapting alien science to human needs had already yielded medical breakthroughs that cured previously untreatable diseases. In Earth orbit, Colonel Jun, now General Jun, oversaw the construction of humanity's first true space defense fleet. The ships combined the best of human innovation with carefully shared alien technology. "We trust our new friends," he told his officers, "but we will always be ready to defend ourselves." When the first human outpost beyond the solar system was established on a small moon orbiting a nearby star, it was General Jun who led the mission. The biggest changes came in everyday life. Children who once dreamed of becoming astronauts now talked of becoming interstellar explorers. University students studied xenobiology alongside human medicine. Every night, people looked up at the stars with new understanding. They were no longer alone. 10 years passed quickly. President Choi, now in her second term, stood aboard the Earth ship Harbinger. The massive vessel represented the pinnacle of human achievement, a diplomatic ship capable of traveling to nearby star systems through the newly constructed hyperspace gate. The ship's crew of 200 included scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. They would be humanity's first official representatives to other civilizations. "We face the galaxy not as subjects to be evaluated," President Choi told the assembled crew during the departure ceremony, "but as equals to be respected. Remember that as you carry humanity's banner to the stars." Ambassador Lee, now Earth's galactic envoy, stood at the president's side. Her hair had turned gray, but her eyes still held the same determination they had shown during those first tense meetings on the moon. "We have learned much from our friends," she said, nodding to Visitor who attended as an honored guest. "But we have also taught them much about courage and determination." As the Harbinger prepared for departure, Director Park watched from the observation deck. He remembered clearly that first dark day when alien ships appeared in Earth's skies. The fear, the uncertainty, the desperate plans made in secret bunkers. Now, humanity stood tall among the stars. Their ultimatum had turned into an opportunity. Their resistance had earned respect. Their unity had forged a future brighter than anyone could have imagined. The Harbinger disappeared into the hyperspace gate in a flash of blue light, carrying humanity's hopes to distant worlds. The end.